Hello, my name is Hazni Ali, and this is the Gender Diversity Final Project. The name and the title of this project is Black Businesses Matter. Um, my target, my target audience, what I want to talk to is young African American athletes, high school ages 14 through 18. And the point I want these young athletes to understand is that young African American males in entrepreneurship, it's a high need for that in the Black community. So because of young African American males suffer from so many issues today, from police brutality to struggling to find employment, and they're very dependent on others to give them a job. During this course, we had discussed colorblind racism, and even some major schools don't want to go into certain inner city neighborhoods to recruit players because of the stigma that may come with these players. And that's just the beginning of it. Let's say they don't make it professional, then what's next is they don't want to hire them. Employers don't want to hire these young African American athletes. So there's always been a notion that players of color from within the inner city may not be as intelligent or tough to deal with, or may be tough to deal with. That's always been a stigma. We even had during this course during the colorblind racism week, we talked about when a coach said, "You know how they are," referring to a black team that was athletic. So, and the team was white, of course. So them saying that you know how they are, that means that they are barbaric or they're just crazy, or it could have any type of meaning to it. But to me, I've heard these types of comments before, and I've heard these types of statements. And sometimes it's a stereotype, but over a while you become numb to it. So the suggestion that I had was that young African American males start to go in business for themselves and be their own employer, because not every high school athlete is going to have an opportunity to go play professional basketball, because there's only a certain amount of spots. Not every young African American athlete is going to have the chance to go play in the NFL. There's only a certain amount of spots. So young African Americans getting into entrepreneurship is the way that they can take back their power in their community. And it's critical that people of color be their own bosses. That way they will never have to rely on others to give them a job. So why not be their own employer? Young African Americans right now, they don't have a lot of education on financial literacy. So I think that'll be a great start for young African American males to start learning, taking courses in financial literacy, start looking into these options. And I do believe that Black entrepreneurship and Black businesses can save the Black community. And because a young Black male may suffer he may have a criminal record, or he made a mistake in his past, that will always be there to harm him, and an employer may not want to give him a job. But if he can create his own job, then he can build himself up. A lot of young Black athletes, they get into the wrong things. They hang out with the wrong people. A lot of inner city Black communities, there's a lot of drug dealers and stuff, and some of them get involved in that. In order to be a drug dealer, you have to have a lot of sense. It's not easy being a drug dealer. It's an illegal job, but of course you have to understand customer service. You have to understand import and export. You also have to understand the market, territory. You have to understand logistics, wholesale, retail. So these are all the things that are involved in selling drugs. So if a young Black man can do this drug dealing, why couldn't they be in business for themselves legally? So which they can create jobs for their friends. And with that being said, we also need to get involved within the politics of our community, of going out and voting, teaching young people the power of voting. And you know what I would teach to all my young student athletes is that their playing careers won't last forever. So whenever they do decide to go into business for themselves, if they think about having a backup plan, that do something that they're very passionate about, and get involved in things that they love, and make sure they're authentic, because people always know when you're authentic and you're being real to yourself. And I want these young athletes to find inspiration in others around them that are doing something positive, and find things that motivate them. This is my message to these young athletes. A lot of times athletes, on a basketball court, as my basketball coach, they may go through adversity and give up, but I would be willing to teach them that, do not give up. Do not give up in because something doesn't go right in the game. The same thing can happen in your business. So don't give up. Keep pushing through adversity. Never be set and don't be a one-trick pony. Try to set yourself apart from the competition. Don't ever get caught up on doing things one way. So Black entrepreneurship is very important to the Black community. And to touch on another point with colorblind racism, which we discussed, it's normal for people to want to hire their own kind. We had talked about Vanilla Silva's book and racism with racists during the course, and we talked about character. So we had talked about how important it is to teach character and fairness, no matter what a person's race or ethnicity is. And it's not fair that we have all these police shootings going on in today's community, in today's society, with a lot of police brutality of killing young Black men. But this is something that I would like to teach not only our young male athletes, but all athletes, how it's important to treat everyone no matter what their color is. It's important to teach them with fairness and respect, no matter what their color is. And as leader in sports, me as a coach, we need to teach each other's cultural differences to our amateur athletes. And colorblind racism is a very real issue in our world today, but it can be overcome slowly but surely. And a couple of closing remarks for my young Black athletes, high school age. I want them to know their worth, and always to take chances on yourself and make up for your losses. Make history. In order to be successful, we have to make sacrifices. Nothing's going to come easy, so that means not hanging out with your friends so much, going out to parties, hooking up with people. Some of that stuff has to go on the back burner if you want to be successful. And always carry yourself in a professional manner. You have to always look a certain way, look professional, because when you look professional, that attracts people to you. And you have to always keep your charisma and keep your composure. And sometimes you're going to get those customers that are not being professional with you, but you always have to maintain your professionalism at all times. So this was my message to young African American athletes in high school, that it's important to start your own businesses, learn financial literacy. And we do suffer from this, but we do suffer from a high unemployment in the Black community, but we have to take control and take leadership of our communities and start to go in business for ourselves. So this was my message, and the title was Black Business Matters. Thank you.